Welcome classic rock fans to a short video where I get to share some new music that I've been exposed to, new music and new bands. If you're new to this channel, please be sure to click like, subscribe and check that notification bell so you get notified of any future uploads. And do check some of the links below this video for ways you can support the sterling work done here at Classic Album Review. The first album is When I Close My Eyes by Phaland. This is just fabulous. It's been described by BBC Six as ethereal acoustic stylings. This band, if I can call them a band, it's a duo, really hail from the West Country Stroud way and consists of singer-songwriter Rebecca Nelson and guitarist multi-instrumentalist Jacob Morrison. Lovely use of harmonies on this record, used either double tracking or additional harmonies, I suppose. I suspect some studio jiggery-pokery has been employed, but their music is delightful really. It's been described as soul balm, worldly yet otherworldly. Tracks was, I really enjoy the banjo and violin on this one. To the ones I know and love, there's an almost Simon and Garfunkel vibe to it. It has that chiming guitar and ethereal voices to it. The debut album All My Swim I've not heard, but if it's anything like this it'll probably be worth checking out. Beautiful, delicate, involving music, it really is. If I may quote the blurb, gentle, intuitive, mystical, Phaland's music blends folk traditions from both sides of the Atlantic with singer-songwriter stylings and a slice of pop. It's lovely stuff, it really is. Do yourself a favour, I'm going to put their link to this band just below this video so you can go over to their website and check out their music. Even buy some if you want. Second one is Children of the Sun, this one, and Roots. And as you can tell by the artwork, they've gone for a very retro sort of 60s vibe to it. And there's a good reason for that as well. It says in the blurb that the idea of this band is to take us back to the garden. As they're a Swedish band, I assume they mean a Swedish garden. What grows in a Swedish garden, I have no idea. But listening to the music, I imagine they grow a lot of fragrant herbs, I suspect. But on a serious note, they are trying to recapture that Woodstock vibe, that late 60s counterculture sound. And that certainly comes across in the blistering vocal delivery. And the guitars as well, they sound as if they've just been lifted from a Jefferson Airplane album. If I may quote the blurb, in 1969, Jimi Hendrix, Joe Cocker, Janis Joplin and many others played the legendary Woodstock Festival in upstate New York. No one has since managed to reincarnate that feeling of nature and soul and rock music that was on that magical field in Bethel, New York in '69. Children of the Sun look like hippies, sound like hippies. Well, you know, if you look at the picture of them in here, if I open this up, there you go, that's them. You can see that. They certainly don't look. They don't look Swedish to me. Not sure what Swedish looks like. I should know actually, considering the amount of Swedish VHS tapes I used to own back in the day. But seriously great music. If you love all that sort of 60s counterculture acid feel to it, then you're going to enjoy this, I think. I certainly enjoyed it. It's called Roots, and I suppose the idea is going back to something, not just the garden, I presume. Reflection on here is a slow bluesy ballad. Again, incredible vocals on this. I don't know who, if it's just one person handling the vocal duties. It's fantastic. Leaves is a heavier, rockier number with that very retro-sounding guitar, as I said. Lots of spacey riffs and swooping vocals and really interesting percussive touches. And an interesting exploration of some of the musical textures of the time from an Eastern vibe to almost pastoral quality to some of the acoustic sections. I think it's fabulous. This is Children of the Sun. This is Roots, their album, and it came out a few months ago actually. It's not so new, but I'm going to put a link to their website or a link below for you to check out their music. Next one is a fairly well-known band. I'm sure you all know the Von Herzen brothers. In fact, I'm pretty sure my mother used to rent a telly from them in the 1980s. Great music. I think they certainly contribute to the narrative that is contemporary prog. In fact, I remember seeing these guys live. I've seen them live a few times, but I remember them doing a blistering version of 21st Century Schizoid Man. Interesting tones and textures explored on here. The music has an almost reverential hymnal quality to it at times, which differs, I think, from the album that precedes this. The Promise is perhaps one of my favourite tracks on this album. They go all folky on us. Semi-chanted vocals and mainly acoustic instrumentation. All of a Sudden You're Gone has a melancholic air to it, all hinged around this very simple and beautiful piano motif. There's no doubt the von Herzenbrother music very much belies the origins of where they come from. It's imbued with this with Finnish culture, history and folklore, and the music that they make is draws from the sprawling topography which is the last 50 years of progressive rock. I love the song Northern Lights on here. It's shimmering and transcendent, quite appropriate I guess, beautifully recreating the mystery of the Aurora Borealis. The whole idea of the album is exploring the imbalances or the imbalance in the natural world, as well as admiring its almost transcendent beauty, shall we say. Anyway, do yourself a favour, if you don't know the von Herzen brothers, I will put a link to their website just below, where I'm sure you'll be able to check out some of their music. The next one is this one, Annie Dresner, Coffee at the Corner Bar. From the very title itself, it seems to suggest quite an intimate album, full of intimate musings about the world and all its missteps and mismatches, so to speak. And her voice is interesting as well. It has something of the Dolores O'Riordan to it. It expresses a vulnerability which beautifully suits the very nature of the songwriting on here. And some wonderful numbers on here. Midnight Bus, not to be confused with the Who's Magic Bus, of course. Don't want to get on that one. Midnight Bus has some great electric guitar work at the start of this. Dogwood is just fantastic. I don't know what dogwood is, but it sounds like a bloody good smoke, doesn't it? I love her lyrical style. This pithy wordplay is just delightful, which beautifully suits all these little mini narratives. Her music has been described as a kind of a more upbeat Mazzy Star, and there's definitely something with the Hope Sandoval to her voice. I think there's a very tremulous quality that she has. But I believe this is actually her third album. This was produced by Paul Godwin, and the production on here is excellent as well. It really, it's quite stark. It's not in any way smothered by any sort of naff studio affectations. It feels as if you're very much in the same room. But overall, I feel her music has an uplifting quality to it, speaking of the redemption of the heart in a very troubling and confusing universe, and gorgeously serviced by her very crisp and plaintive voice. I love the lyric, I bled so hard from the prick of thorn, everything born will die. Great lyric, very Sylvia Plath. And the last one I want to talk about is this guy who's been around for 100 years, and that's Jeff Cotton. Jeff Cotton, as well you know, played with the Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band, which that alone should prick your interest as regards checking out this album. Its music is whimsical, playful. He takes us on this very psychedelic acoustic journey via the Delta blues. There's some Hawaiian textures on there. I think Beefheart devotees will certainly get something from this. Cal Schenkel also got involved with the artwork of this. Of course, we remember him from Troutmouse Replicant, also worked with Frank Zappa, didn't he, back in the day. Feels as if a lot of these tracks could have been just lifted out of some outtakes from the Troutmouse Replica album. Very spiritual message to this music, which in itself is quite, leaves one feeling quite buoyant and uplifted. And beautiful, beautiful slide guitar work on this, gorgeous. I interviewed him a few days ago. If you haven't already, if you're interested in us talking about this album and Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, do go and check that out. So for all the albums I've spoken about in this video, there is a link just below this video, so you can go there and look at them, see who they are, explore their music, even for free, just so you get to hear them. And then you can decide for yourself whether you want to make a purchase or not. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I've enjoyed listening to those albums. I hope you will check them out. And I'll just leave you with my usual closing salvo, which, as you know, is hope you're well, staying safe, but more importantly that you keep listening.